Hello everyone, I am delighted to bring to you an etude that I have written for the Gypsy Jazz version of Jerry Reed's Jiffy Jam. Try to say that 5 times fast cause it's a tongue twister. This first little short phrase of music is a declarative phrase that brings the etude in with a sense of confidence and positive vibes. Is actually 3 smaller motives. You want to make sure that you get your articulations correct for each motive. For example, motive 1 has 3 short staccato type notes with accents leading to a high E. It goes like this. Maybe a little vibrato on the E wouldn't hurt. Now, in order for me to get those kind of articulations, I have to use all downstrokes, because it just is more strong that way. Motive 2 has a little pull-off in it that implies that the dynamics of this particular motive are going to start loud and get quieter. So this is what it sounds like. That pull-off leads perfectly to a decrease in volume. Motive 3 has a little double tongue saxophone thing that I kind of picked up from Charlie Parker's Blue Meadow, where we go down, up, down on an E. Now this lick played at a fast clip, I would probably go down, up, down, down. Now let's go through each motive with the metronome at 80 beats per minute 2 times. Motive 1 comes in on the and of 3 of the pickup measure into the etude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Motive 2 comes in the first measure. On beat 2, there is a triplet. It is the second note of the triplet on beat 2 and ends on the and of 3 in measure 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Motive 3 is on the and of 4 in the first measure with the double tongue. It's a pickup into measure 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at this point, if you can play each individual motive, you have the strategic choice of either putting motive 1 and 2 together, then motive 2 and 3, and then motive 1, 2, and 3. I am going to do all 3 motives with the metronome 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Good strategy and understanding will help you to improve at a quicker pace. Learning these motives individually like this and paying so much attention and detail to them may be tedious, but it is well worth the effort. Be sure to remember that you can use YouTube to slow this down if you need to a tempo that is comfortable for you, that you can both hear it clearly, understand the rhythms, and play it consistently on the guitar, speeding it up to at your pace for your skill level. Have fun. The second phrase of this etude is going to be divided into 2 separate shorter motives or phrases. The first little mini phrase uses the E blues scale and then resolves to C dominant 7 on an E sharp. The second little motive, or mini phrase, uses the E major blues scale and then converts to the B major blues scale to resolve to E. When you're playing the first mini phrase, I'm using in the right hand, down, up, down, up, down, 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 to get the strength out of those last two notes for the resolution to that E sharp. With the next little mini phrase, I'm going down, up, down, down, up, down. The gypsy jazz players have a sort of technical rule where every time you change to a new string, you do a downstroke, which works really well for this phrase because of the way that it needs to be articulated. Have fun. Dynamics, articulations like staccato notes or short notes, and accents are really important. In the first little mini phrase, we have an acceleration through the dynamic, starting quieter, getting louder, using some staccato and accented notes to lead to that first resolution. The first resolution note can be a little quieter than the rest of the phrase to tuck in the resolution. The second little mini phrase, we have one short note right before the resolution to B dominant 7 to bring out that resolution. Be sure to use those articulations exactly how they are employed in the solo to get the most out of your learning process for this blues etude. Now let's go through each of these little mini phrases and play them 2 times with the metronome on 80. The first mini phrase comes in on the and of 3 in measure 2 and ends on beat 2 in measure 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The second little mini phrase starts on beat 3 in measure 3 and ends on the and of 2 in measure 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Be sure to remember that you can use YouTube to slow this down if you need to a tempo that is comfortable for you, that you can both hear it clearly, understand the rhythms, and play it consistently on the guitar, speeding it up to at your pace for your skill level. Have fun. Now let's play this entire 2 little mini phrases for one larger phrase together with a metronome at 80 beats per minute. I'm going to play it 2 times. You play it as many times at home as you need to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little soulful phrase, we are going to break into 2 mini phrases. The first mini phrase and the second one. The right hand for the first little mini phrase, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. And then the next little mini phrase, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Or you can do a down, down to complete this phrase. Down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. The double downs are very useful when you want to have more control to tuck in a phrase. Now I'm going to play with the metronome on 80 beats per minute so that you can hear what that sounds like. The first little mini phrase comes in measure 4 on the and of beat 3 and ends in measure 5 on the and of beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little mini phrase is complicated rhythmically because of that saxophone little double tongue. It's important to really kind of just hear it. It comes in just after beat 4 in measure 5 and has a triplet run down to the last triplet of beat 2 in measure 6. In order for me to play this phrase with the metronome, I'm going to count one dead measure in just the first 3 beats of measure 5 so that I can listen to beat 4 and feel it and play it a little easier. This helps me with getting it accurate. I could not count beat 4 and get it correct. So one dead measure, counting the first 3 beats, letting the 4th beat click, and then playing the phrase through to the last triplet of beat 2 in measure 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So now let's put these 2 phrases together with the metronome 2 times so that you can hear what it's supposed to sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the harmonic formula of this phrase, again, we have the blue note from the E major blues scale being used quite a bit over the E dominant 7 flat 9 over G sharp. Then when it goes from the A major 6 add 9 to the A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat, we have a resolution to that B flat through an arpeggio. So we have, I consider all of that pretty much the E major blues scale. That little arpeggio is outlined with the beginning of the shared tones between A major 6 and A dominant 7 of C sharp and E. Then we have the A dominant 7's G natural down to an F sharp, which can be seen as a 13 or a 6 in A dominant 7. E and C sharp again down to B flat. So we resolve to that B flat of the A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat. So outline the harmony and make our melodies sound as sophisticated as the chord progression implies. The next little bit of music has some ghost notes in it. The first note is a B flat coming off of our A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat. But the rest of the melodic content is based upon the E major blues scale again. Here's the first portion that we're going to study that has the ghost notes double tongue saxophone thing. Now the next little mini musical statement is actually starts on that G sharp. Okay, so that G sharp becomes a pivot note. When that phrase before ends, the next phrase begins. So the next little musical phrase is, when you put them together, and then the last little musical statement is something that we're used to hearing. We're going to come back through the E major blues scale using the flat 3 or a G natural to resolve to E. So let's talk a little bit about the double tongue saxophone, including ghost notes. I don't think that I notated it in the score quite as well as I could have. It is something that I picked up from Charlie Parker learning his solos on Blue Meadow. So we start on the B flat of the A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat, and we're going to play that note. Now, and when I come through to the C sharp, I double up on the C sharp. I do a down up, but the first little thing that you're hearing is the muted B flat. So that you get that ba-da-da. You know, it's very subtle, but it is there. And it adds a nice little flavor to that note. I don't really understand the saxophone. I think it's called a double tongue technique. I'm estimating there. I don't really quite understand how they do it, but that's how I'm getting it done. So it's a down on the B flat, then a muted B flat, down through the C sharp, up on the C sharp. Then the rest of the lick, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. The next lick is really very simple. It's the pivot note from the G sharp. You can play all of these as downs at slow tempos. That'll work really well. But you could also go down, down, up, down, down, up. I would want to do a down on that E because it needs to have significance. So I will always make sure that top note is going to get a downstroke because the upstroke just wouldn't provide the emphasis that I'm looking for when I'm playing the line. Now with the last phrase, we're going through a down on the B, and then down, up, down. Now let's play each of these portions of music with the metronome at 80 beats per minute. The first little bit of music or mini phrase comes in measure 6 just after beat 3 on the second triplet of B3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. The next little portion of music comes in on beat 1 in measure 7 and ends on the and of 3 in measure 7. This one's actually kind of easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last little portion of music begins on the and of 4 in measure 7 and ends on the and of 2 in measure 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's put them all together at 80 beats per minute on the metronome. We're going to do all 3 little mini phrases 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Our next portion of music uses some octaves. This little portion of music we're going to break into 3 separate ideas. The first idea is the E major blues scale with all downstrokes. The next idea leads a resolution line to the note A for the A major 6 add 9. So this line has an up-down at the beginning of it with all downstrokes. The next line has a chromatic run down to our B flat, which is the B flat of the A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat. So this line has an up-down at the beginning of it. So you have up-down, up-down, down, 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 up-down, down, 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 down. I'll do that slowly. Up, down, 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 down. Be sure to get all of the articulations right. The first little bit of music that we're going to practice comes in on the and of beat 3 in measure 8 and ends on the and of 1 in measure 9. 2 times on the metronome at 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little bit of music comes in on the and of 2 in measure 9 and ends on the and of 3 in measure 9. 2 times at 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Our last little portion or motive for this phrase comes in on the and of 4 in beat 9 and ends on the and of 2 in beat 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's play this entire phrase with the metronome at 80 2 times so that you know what it should sound like. Coming in on the and of 3 in beat 8, playing all the way through the and of 2 in beat 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, 4, 1, 2, 3. We have some more octaves right in the kisser. These octaves are short and punchy, punching you right in the kisser with their soulful attitude, or punching you in the eye. The first idea is all downstrokes, and we're resolving to a C sharp dominant 7 with a G sharp at the end of the line. It looks a lot like just an E major blues line. Up to there is just an E major blues with the flat 3 on the top end. However, in order to resolve it to the C dominant 7 and just to give it a little bit of extra bite, we go up to the G sharp on the final element of that melodic motive. The next little motive or phrase utilizes a B minor pentatonic, or you could look at it as a derivative of the B major blues scale, resolving to the note B and the chord B dominant 7. It's important with these octaves to get the articulations correct. We have staccato notes pretty much the whole time for the first motive or for the first little phrase. All of those are staccato notes. There's a few elements where you slide into notes. I think that that's important for the voicing of this particular melodic content. Slide into that G and slide into the G sharp. For the second motive or little phrase, we're sliding into the F sharp and then resolving out with staccato notes to that B. The sliding notes are important to get because they add a small element of fluidity to this otherwise really staccato and punchy line. Let's now play these little ideas along with the metronome at 80 beats per minute. The first little motive comes in on the and of 3 in measure 10 and ends on the and of 3 in measure 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little idea comes in on the 1 of measure 12 and ends on the and of 2 in measure 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's put these ideas together with the metronome at 80. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. This next portion of music I got from Brent Mason's First Rule of Thumb. Under normal circumstances, when I'm doing some sort of composition or etude, I will compose music that is truly from within. However, when this portion of the music came along, I had learned Brent Mason's solo from First Rule of Thumb, and I heard his music fitting so well in the context of a Jerry Reed etude that I included it out of respect for Brent and out of respect for Jerry Reed, the influence that Jerry Reed had on Brent and the influence that Brent and Jerry Reed has had on me. Now you're going to need to break this up into 3 different little segments to practice. The first one is the octave lick up to the pull-off. I use all downstrokes for this. And I use my pinky on that first pull-off from G to E on the first string because it's already in position from the octaves. Now once you can get that, then coming down with the G to E pull-offs in octaves, you go from G to E on the first string, G to E on the third, and G to E on the fifth. I use my pinky every time, and I'm using downstrokes every single time. Now the final little motive or phrase is relatively straightforward blues. I use a 3 to slide in here, then a 2 to slide. With my right hand, I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Or you could go down, up, down, 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 on, down, up, down. The consecutive downs is always a good idea to try to work those in to the etude. I've done so much alternate picking in my career as a musician that I have a tendency to lean into the alternate picking sometimes and not do as many downs as a gypsy jazz guitar player might. Now the harmonic formula behind these licks is basically, again, just a lot of blues scales. That lick comes out of the major pentatonic. This lick comes out of the minor pentatonic. The final lick is an example of a shape that I would identify as a major blues, and then for E, and then a major blues for A, and that little lick is sort of built out of the A dominant 7 shape with a major pentatonic added the flat 7 or the G natural. So you have like an E major blues, A major blues, and then that G natural or flat 7 added to the pentatonic scale, which is a nice bluesy sound as well. Be sure to get all of the articulations right. There's a lot of accented notes in here as well as staccato notes. We've got, those are extremely declarative statements. They need to be loud and very proud. The next little lick has a little bit of dynamics where it starts soft and gets louder and kind of resolves out. I could exaggerate that. Dynamics and articulation are extremely important. How you articulate each note and the amount of volume and dynamics that you use is going to be how you're emoting the melody through the instrument. Now let's play these along with the metronome at 80 beats per minute. Remember, you can use YouTube to slow it down if you need to a tempo that is good for your skill level. The first little portion of music comes in on the and of 3 of measure 12 and ends on the second 16th note of measure 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The second little motive that we're going to practice is the G to E pull-offs on the first, third, and fifth string. This is the first 3 beats of measure 13. So we're coming in on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next little motive that we're going to practice comes in on beat 4 of measure 13 and ends on beat 3 in measure 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now let's put all three of these motives together to complete this little phrase of music. 80 beats per minute on the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3. This next little lick is also taken from Brent Mason's first rule of thumb. I see this lick as an E minor pentatonic or E minor blues with extra chromatic notes. The most important aspect to getting this lick correct is making sure that you include the accents, which means your right hand has to be on point with when you're doing downstrokes or upstrokes. Each accent is going to be a downstroke. It's down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down. Again, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down. Remember, in an etude, you want to be very careful with how you do your down-up strokes. When you're just improvising, these kind of things are not going to occur to you. Hopefully your hand will be trained as a result of your etudes and other things that you study to play in a way that's efficient and also provides for the most beneficial tone and accent down-up strokes for the lines that you're playing. Now let's play this along with the metronome at 80 beats per minute. This line comes in on the and of 4 in measure 14 and plays through to measure 16 to the last triplet of beat 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Be sure to notice that I counted only beats 1, 2, and 3 out loud and let the metronome click beat 4 so that I have a greater chance of playing the line successfully. Be sure to come in on the and of 4. We have finally made it to the B section. We're going to divide this up into 2 separate ideas to practice. The first idea is going from C sharp minor to F sharp dominant 7, resolving to an A sharp. There's 2 ways to play this line. You start with your second finger on the C sharp and go to the second string with the E, and it goes. The second way that I've found to play this line works really well when I'm increasing the tempo and trying to play this etude relatively fast. I play the C sharp and the E on the same string of the third string, and it looks like this. The next line is resolving from B dominant 7 to E. We start with the really fast notes. I am just sliding from an A to a G sharp, pulling off to that F sharp. And then a downstroke on that E. And all downstrokes through the arpeggio of E. Then we have an upstroke on the C sharp, and a downstroke on that E, and an upstroke on the G. Now there's a downstroke on that F sharp. So when you come off of that F sharp, you have the option of going up on the C sharp and then down on the E. That's alternate picking. Or you can do a downstroke on the F sharp and then a downstroke on that C sharp and the E. I personally, when I'm practicing this, I try to do the double downs because I'm studying gypsy guitar and I'm trying to do as many double downs as possible in the etudes just to get used to that technique. However, it sounds really pretty good with both. That's with double downs. That's with an upstroke on the C sharp. The C sharp is just slightly less pronounced. Now let's play this first line at 80 beats per minute on the metronome. I will show you both ways to do it so that you can have the visual reference of the video. Here's the first way to play it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Here's the second way to play it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So the next little phrase with all of the fast notes comes in on the and of 3 in beat 17 and ends on the last triplet of beat 2 in measure 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And I am trying to focus. Now let's put these two licks together. Going from the and of 3 in measure 16 to the last triplet of beat 2 in measure 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Be sure to get all of your articulations correct, the accents, the short, the long notes, as well as the dynamics, and use YouTube to slow it down if you need to a tempo that you can understand for your skill level. On to the next phrase in the B section. We're going to divide this up into two ideas. The first idea is C sharp minor resolving to F sharp dominant 7. When I'm playing this at slower tempos, I can slide into this E. But at quick tempos, I'm finding that I just need to reach up with my pinky and grab it. So at slower tempos, I'll play it like this, with all downstrokes. But at a quicker tempo, I'm going to reach up with my pinky and grab it. There's not much difference. So we have all downstrokes and an upstroke on that B, and then all downstrokes here. The double downs and consistent downstrokes make for a more consistent sound. So with an etude, I work as many downstrokes in as I possibly can. This next little motive starts out with an E major sound and then goes to the flat 3, which probably could be derived from the E major blues scale again. The accent is really important on this E to make sure that you're phrasing this particular line properly, or that it has the right melodic direction. That accent really makes the line work. Now let's play the first idea with the metronome at 80. We're coming in on the and of 3 in measure 18 and resolving to the and of 3 in measure 19. We're going to play this at 80 beats per minute on the metronome. 2 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Here is the second way where I grab it with the pinky and don't do the slide in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little portion that we're going to practice with a metronome at 80 beats per minute comes in on the and of 4 in measure 19 and ends on the last triplet of the second beat in measure 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now let's put these two lines together. I will play it with the metronome using the slide in once and using the pinky once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3. Be sure to get all of the articulations correct, making sure that you use all staccato notes, short notes, long notes, as well as the accents and dynamics. Use YouTube to slow it down to a tempo that is comfortable for you at your skill level if you need to. This next line truly explores C# minor. This is the part of the B section where C# minor plays a very big role. We have C# minor, C# minor 7 over B, then C# minor over B flat to A major. That chord progression is what this melody outlines. Now I used this octave jump up to the G sharp to take advantage of the range of the instrument and add something new with the melody or the melodic content now that we're in a new key. So this melody shoots way up. We're still in C# minor. That's the C# minor over B right there. Now as we come out of that line, we get to our B flat, where C# minor over B flat. And then it resolves to the A. The melody goes right to the A. So let's hear that. And when I'm practicing this, I'm going to try to use as many downstrokes as possible as normal. So I'm going to pretty much play all downs when I'm truly thinking about it. The melody during this section is not that fast, so it's easier to get downstrokes and keep everything consistent and strong. Now let's play this with a metronome at 80 beats per minute. We're coming in on the and of 3 in measure 20 and going to the last triplet of beat 2 in measure 22. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. These next two little melodic statements are two of my favorite in the entire study. We are outlining the chord change that I had previously said was E major 7 over G sharp, which is correct. This, what I was calling C dominant 7 over G, is not that at all. It's an F sharp dominant 7 flat 9 over a G natural, because the melody resolves to C sharp and sounds great. The last little bit of the line resolves to B through F sharp minor to B dominant 7. So here's the first little lick, the harmonic formula. We go up with our major 7 chord, we go up to the major 7 of E and end the line on C sharp. This cool little double tongue lick that's really difficult to do fast. It really is an Aeolian B minor type idea. But because we're in a blues and it's a funky little line, it definitely sounds bluesy. So again, our downstroke philosophy is reigning true through this first lick. When practicing it, I am definitely going to use all downs through to the D sharp. And then I'll use up on that D natural to the pull off to C sharp. Down, up, down, up, down. The next lick, we have the double tongue coming in on beat 4 of measure 22, down, 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 up, down, down. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Now let's play these licks with the metronome at 80 beats per minute. The first lick comes in on the and of 3 in measure 23 and ends on the last triplet of beat 3 in measure 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little idea starts on beat 4 in measure 24 and ends on the last triplet of beat 2 in measure 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Be sure to pay close attention to all articulations and dynamics through every motive and phrase that you play. We have finally made it to the final A section. The B section resolves back to the key of E, so we're headed back into the E major blues scale territory. And we're playing over the harmonies E, E dominant 7 flat 9 over G sharp, to A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat. The first lick, that's just the E major blues scale again. The second little motive is the E major blues scale resolving down to that B flat or A sharp. Let's play these on the metronome at 80 beats per minute 2 times so you know how to practice it at home. The first lick comes in on the and of 3 in measure 24 and plays all of measure 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next motive comes in on the and of 1 in measure 26 and plays all of measure 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. The next little motive has one of those cool little Charlie Parker double-tongue saxophone things. The harmonies that we're playing through this time are the E major over B, C sharp dominant 7, F sharp dominant 7 resolving to B dominant 7. This harmonic movement provides a great chance for acceleration with the dynamic through this lick. The first little lick is the double tongue saxophone thing. We have down on the B and then down again on this C sharp and then up on that C sharp to get the double tongue. Similar to all other double tongue things that we've done today. That line accelerates and has a lift in dynamic and energy. It's got a lot of power. So we got down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down to get the power needed to play that lick. The next little lick resolves back through the E minor blues scale to give it a little bit of extra sauce. We start with a C sharp, which is not in the minor blues. It's borrowed from the major blues. And we come down the E minor blues to resolve to the note B for that B dominant 7 chord. The strokes are down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down. Remember, these downs consecutively are great for the study. Pragmatically, when I'm playing and just improvising, I don't think about this stuff at all. But when I'm doing an etude, I will actually be very careful about how I try to implement the downstrokes. Sometimes when I'm getting really fast, I can't do as many downstrokes. It's just not possible. My hands are not that coordinated. So now let's play these licks with the metronome at 80 beats per minute so that you know how it should sound and can practice it at home. The first little motive comes in on the and of 1 in measure 27 and ends on the and of 3 in measure 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Remember, you can use YouTube to slow this down if you need to be able to comprehend what's really going on rhythmically. The next motive in this motivic pair comes in on the second triplet of the last beat of measure 27 and ends on the last triplet of the second beat in measure 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Use YouTube to slow this down if you need to get it really accurate. These next little couple of motives use that Charlie Parker inspired double tongue saxophone thing. So we're playing over the harmony of E major to E dominant 7 flat 9 over G sharp, A major 6 add 9 to A dominant 7 flat 9 over B flat. The first lick comes off of that blues lick that we played in the last portion of the lesson. Now in the video, I played from this B to that one to get a double tongue. I went down on that, then a little mute on the 4th string again, mute 4th string down up on the 3rd. Okay, but that can be played all right here as well. Makes it a little bit easier. I have no idea why I did that in the video when I was recording it. It just came out that way. All of that lick is E major pentatonic. The next little lick utilizes a G natural, so we're pulling from the E major blues scale again a little bit. We have a double tongue idea on this B. So it's down, up, down, down, double downs there on both those notes. Because you want to get the emphasis of those two notes. So we want to come back to that E as a downstroke as well. Down on that C sharp, down on the E. So it's a double down again. Then a down up. Because that last little note is short and relatively quiet. Now let's play this along with the metronome at 80 beats per minute so that you know what they should sound like and can practice them at home. Be sure to use YouTube to slow this down if you need to comprehend what's truly going on rhythmically. So the first lick comes in just after beat 3 in measure 28 and ends on the very first portion of beat 4 in measure 29. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. The next little lick has that slight pickup double tongue thing that brings us in just before measure 30 and ends on the very first part of the beat 4 in measure 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Have fun. We are finally to the last two motives of this etude. All right, so the harmony that we are playing over in this little portion of the etude is E to F sharp dominant 7 to B7 resolving to E. We're going to break this into two separate ideas. They're both very short and they both use the E major blues scale. The first little portion, we have down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, up. That's the blues scale. The second little portion, or second little lick, is all downstrokes with the octaves using the G natural from the blues scale, resolving through F sharp to E. And you want to observe the articulation of long, short, long for that last resolving note. So let's play this first little motive with the metronome on 80 beats per minute. This first little motive comes in on the very last portion of beat 4 in measure 30 and plays to the and of 4 in measure 31. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next little motive comes in on beat 1 in measure 32 and resolves to the and of beat 2 in measure 32. 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Have fun. Remember that you can use YouTube to slow this down if you need to a tempo that makes it easier for you at your skill level. I thought I would explain a little bit about the process behind how this etude came about. So if you want to improve with your improvisations, you might pick up some ideas on how to practice at home. The first element of my process is that I listen to a lot of great improvisers and I learn their solos. So I have transcribed, meaning memorized, and learned to play, and sometimes written down solos by guys like Charlie Parker, Borelli Lagreen, Gonzalo Bagheera, and other similar players. I will learn those solos and try to get them as fast as I possibly can. Unfortunately, my technique is not capable of playing at the same tempos that those guys do, so I just learn them as fast as I can get them and adjust the tempos of the tunes to meet my technique so that I can have fun and learn to play. Having learned a lot of these solos and also learned what tempo that I am capable of playing, I then take the knowledge of the language that I've learned and begin to apply it to my own improvisations. I create backing tracks for myself at various tempos so that I'm sure to learn the chords and internalize the harmonic movement of the tune. So for example, with a tune like Blue Meadow by Charlie Parker, which I have worked a lot on, I will make backing tracks at 80, 90, 100, 120, 130, all the way up to about 180. I intend to perform that tune at 160 at some point, so having backing tracks a little faster than 160 is really helpful. Once I have those backing tracks recorded, I will play them through a set of speakers that's not associated with my phone, and then record myself improvising at tempos that are really slow or tempos that are comfortable for me to play. Those recordings usually result in some really sloppy version of an improvisation that I wish was better, hence the etudes. So I will take those sloppy versions of what I play and pick out the things that I have played that I think sound really pretty good or almost is what I want as an improviser, and then learn them and refine the ideas down to what I believe I really truly would like to play. Then I usually write them down. So with Jiffy Jam, I wrote it down. I then go back and learn those etudes that I have written from material that comes from within me, that's really based upon the material that I learned from usually Charlie Parker or Borelli Lagreen. Admittedly, both Charlie Parker and Borelli Lagreen are extremely developed, virtuosic, genius-level improvising musicians. So my ideas are not going to sound like theirs. However, I do learn something about the language of improvisation from these guys that really helps me and makes me feel like I'm benefiting. So when I write my own material and come up with the etudes or begin to improvise at tempos that are good for me, I feel like I am saying things as a musician that are stylistically appropriate for jazz and blues. When I'm learning those etudes that I write, like for Jiffy Jam, and I have some original music that I have written etudes for, I will start them at really slow tempos on the metronome and work them up in speed. So I might start the Etude at around 80 beats per minute, and I'll try to get it as fast as I can possibly get it. I usually pick a performance tempo that I think is close to what I want, and then try to get to that. For example, I have an original named Django Dog Swing that I would like to perform at 180. However, I cannot play that tune at 180. So I try to get it to 160. I feel like 160 is pretty close to the way the tune should sound. Once I've memorized and worked those etudes up, my improvisations will then improve by quite a bit. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4.